Okay, so we'll call this meeting to order. The Tuesday, January 13th, 2026 Transportation Safety Commission meeting. Since it's the first meeting of the year, I want to read the land acknowledgement since we don't always do that. The land that Eureka rests on is known in the Wiyot language as Jarujiji. Past actions by local, state, and federal governments removed the Wiyot and other indigenous peoples from the land and threatened to destroy their cultural practices. The city of Eureka acknowledges the Wiyot community, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement demonstrates the city's commitment to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism. And then we will start with a call to order and roll call, but first we have to vote to welcome Commissioner Philip Beaudry via Zoom. Does anyone want to?
I'll move adoption.
Okay. All right, Mark seconds. All right. Those in favor of letting Philip join via Zoom?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nope. All right. Welcome, Philip.
Thank you.
And then, will you do a roll call for us, please, Jessica?
Commissioner Beaudry,
Present.
Commissioner Mueller, Commissioner Meyer,
Present.
Commissioner Griffith,
Present.
Commissioner Edrington,
Present.
and Commissioner Gonzalez.
Here.
You guys are all here today.
Look at us. All right. And a couple of us get to take the oath of office.
Sorry, Tim isn't here today.
No, Tim. Okay. And so Philip and I both are renewing our terms to be on the commission, and so need to take our oath of office.
Okay, I'll read it for you guys. If you could just say your name. I
Caroline Griffith.
Philip Beaudry.
do solemnly affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California and the Charter of the City of Eureka, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter in the capacity of Commissioner for the Transportation Safety Commission of the City of Eureka.
I do.
As do I.
Thank you.
All right. And so now, beginning of the year, we need to elect a committee chair. And it says applications, recommendations for positions, but maybe those are just all part of the same sort of thing. Okay, cool. So we need to elect a committee chair and a vice chair. Philip and I are currently the chair and vice chair. I would be happy to give up my seat if somebody wants to fill it. It's really fun. You run a meeting once a month. Jessica's super helpful in helping you figure out how to do all of it.
So I would be willing to take on either position if you do want to step down.
Yeah.
And I'm also happy to support somebody else.
Cool. Philip, how are you feeling about your position? Would you maybe want to? I know that I think maybe I was vice chair when Mark was chair, and we just kind of went up that rung there. Were you interested in stepping into this role?
I am amenable to change.
Nice.
I'm also amenable to the status quo.
Okay. All right, so somebody's got to make a motion, right?
I move to elect Philip Beaudry as committee chair.
I will second that.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of Philip stepping into this role, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right, Philip's not opposed. That's good. Okay. And then,
Since that would mean he takes over the meeting,
all right.
yeah, that's what happens. We
Cool.
can't have him run the meeting through Zoom, though.
Okay.
So whoever you elect for co-chair will then take over,
All
just
right.
so you know.
Fun. Okay. Learning some process.
Have
All
elected
right.
co-chair first.
I know, right? Yeah.
I move that we elect Shanti as co-chair.
I second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All
Aye.
right. And so, in keeping with that, we'll then hand over the meeting to Shanti as co-chair. Should we swap seats? Okay.
I think it's fine. Just
Derek wants us to swap seats,
Okay.
he said from the back. Okay. Congratulations, everybody.
Okay. Item 4, moving us along, is approval of the minutes from the, looks like December 9th meeting. Is there a motion?
Sure, I move to approve the minutes.
Okay, second.
I'll second it.
Great. Any discussion? Okay, we can vote.
Aye.
Aye. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposition? Any opposed? Okay. Do we have anyone? I don't see anyone in the room. Is there anyone on Zoom who would like to make a public comment?
You might mention that it's only about items that are, well, there's nothing on the agenda anyhow. But
There's nobody on Zoom but staff, so. Yeah.
that's easy.
Okay. Okay. I do not see any old or new business items tonight, so we can move on to staff reports. And item 7.1 is a staff report on parking management. So I'll turn it over to you all.
Good afternoon to you. I have an update on the City of Eureka Engineering Department has an update on our parking management with our Passport parking management, who's going to be providing the app. And so, as soon as we have a newly configured map that we were working on, as soon as it comes up. There we go. All right. So as you can see, we have highlighted our free parking and our mobile pay parking lots on this map, with also planned development at the H Street location, which we will be utilizing in the meantime. But when development starts, we'll be phasing that out. So. Where we're at with the parking management app and the update is we're in the system configuration process. This week we're working on just general configuration with users and roles. We're working on payment sites, so we're having an online payment site location and on-site payment location. We're working with the DMV for integration purposes. We're working on specific type of citation imports. We need to customize our paper to show the City of Eureka logo and their Eureka Police Department logo. So we're working with them on a nice paper, customized paper, and then just have to configure our payment plans for individuals who have to make payment plans who can't pay all at once. I'm also working on signage and location. We are going to be receiving one sign per 5 spaces or stalls. So it kind of gives you an idea of the configuration. We're looking at the locations that we're going to be working at, calling out locates, and we're also going to be working on removing the parking lot meters. They're scheduled to be removed in the beginning of February. And we're looking at implementation by mid-February to the end of February. We're going to start doing test runs, parking management, pre-implementation test runs, which we'll be conducting to properly evaluate the performance and functionality of the app before a full-scale implementation. So, do we have any questions on where we stand right now on our parking management update?
Carolyn, you look perplexed. Do you have a question?
I was having a hard time seeing on the map which one was the paid and which one was the free, but the blue is the paid. Is that correct?
The blue is the free.
Oh, the blue is the free and the others are paid.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's right down to the bottom right corner. It
And
might
that's
be
it's
kind
covered,
of blocked by
Yeah.
the handrail. But yes, the blue is the free parking. And then we have just the regular orange, which are going to be our mobile pay, and then our planned development lots at 8th Street and 4th. And there's also an additional one at 5th and D.
And those two, and those kind of the idea is we know there'll be a period of time with those two developments before they'll be up and running, where we'll still be using the parking lots for our public purposes before they start construction. So we'll utilize those as paid parking until those both those developments starting to sound like there'll be coming sooner than later, though, as far as those two projects getting up off the ground. So it probably won't be a long time where those are being monitored as paid lots.
If there's no other questions, I have a question, which is about just on-street parking downtown. Is that going to stay the same for the time being, or is there a vision over time that the street spots would also become paid via the app?
Yeah, that's the general plan. Is starting out. If you look back through our parking study that was done in 2022, kind of the strategy was to implement first in the paid parking lots, and then move into the on-street parking as far as the parking management goes. So for us right now, like Jay mentioned, we're shooting here in the next month or so to get those parking lots up and running. Month and a half, and then in the next 6 months after that, we'll be working on getting the on-street parking identified for the core that is where we monitor parking in Old Town, downtown. Some of those activities include putting tick marks out and identifying what the spaces will be along the streets. So we have some work that we're doing right now to get ahead of that. So we're kind of working on that part of it right now, and also the part of bringing the parking lots up to getting them ready to start.
Okay, and I know there was a question last time about if somebody doesn't have the Passport app on their phone, because the free lots, it sounds like, are going to stay free, but once the street parking becomes paid, how I heard something about people can go online to, is it like a reserve space, or how is that going to work?
We'll have a dedicated space at either City Hall or our downtown location where we have our city offices as well. We're going to have a dedicated spot where an individual can come in and pay by cash for that, for the spots that are needed.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, then we can move on to the next staff report on traffic signal reconfiguration.
Yeah, so I'll introduce this for Jay real quick. So, as you know, we have traffic signals in the city of Eureka. We operate 27 signals throughout Eureka. We have, from time to time, we look at where there's areas of potential conflict or where conflict's been seen, and try to come up with strategies to eliminate that conflict. In the past, we've done this, maybe not less of a conflict, but more of a general system efficiency. I think the last one that I can remember we did was that yellow arrow at Boone and Harrison, or that type of configuration where there's a flashing yellow arrow. So when there's an ability to go, somebody could make that turning movement. In this case, though, we're looking at kind of changing some of the signal timing on a number of key intersections that have a potential conflict point. And Jay's going to get into that. So I'll turn it over to Jay, and he can give you the details on those different intersections.
Once again, good afternoon. So I want to talk about split phasing. Same with the City of Eureka Engineering Department. We have been focusing on 3 intersections that have been where split phasing can be incorporated and really highly help incorporate some of the Vision Zero practices that we're looking at as well for pedestrian conflicts and left turning movements. So we can dive right into split phasing of intersections and for Vision Zero planning. So just to start with a quick definition of split phasing. Split phasing is a traffic signal design strategy where all movements from one approach direction are given a green signal first phase, followed by the same set of movements from the opposite approach. Essentially, it separates opposing approaches that they do not need to proceed simultaneously. So the purpose and benefits, safety is one of the number one benefits. By separating left turn vehicles from crossing pedestrian flows and opposing traffic, split phasing reduces conflicts and potential for side impact and head-on collisions. Pedestrians gain a dedicated interval to cross safely as well. It also gives dedicated movements So you just do not have any conflicts whatsoever. A great example of one performance that we just implemented is the intersection of Myrtle and West. There are 2 left turns that were protected, but now we have them as split phase, so they are being identified as separate. One of the other purposes and benefits is for complex intersections, and just as listed as that with Myrtle and West and some of the intersections that I'm about to list, they have complexities that are different from standard intersections. One of the considerations that you do want to focus on, and that's why split phasing is not utilized all the time, is that it does add signal timing to the overall time signal length. So with a dedicated phase, you have to wait. So one is being served and then the other phase is being served compared to they were both being served congruently. All right. And then this slide right here actually kind of really illustrates where you'll have 2 phases and 2 and 6 going at the same time, and the same as the 2 left turn phases as phase 1 and 5, but with the split configuration in the ring barrier, 4 will go by itself, which would be a southbound phase, and then 8 would go by itself, which would be a northbound phase. And then go back to your original cycle, which would start with your 2 left turns going concurrently, and then your phases 2 and 6, which is typically your main lines going concurrently, and then your 4 and 8 phases going separately. All right. And our next slides, which can be which one of the cons that we talked about with split phasing can be longer cycle lengths, which lead to your level of service. And then we'll go to our next slide for the level of service. And just to give a good definition of what that is, because most intersections on how they're running fluently will talk about level of service. So a good definition of level of service is a measure of drivers' experience on the road and the intersection based on speed and number of cars using the road. The LOS is the LOS of a road is designated by a letter grade A through F, and A, B, and C typically representing free flowing, and E to F representing near gridlock. And our first intersection that we want to discuss reconfiguration is Boone and S. As Boone and S stands right here, these are how the concurrent phases run. Phase 2 and phase 6 run at the same time, and you see the conflict points that can occur. Additionally, you have the pedestrian movements moving at the same time. So you can have left turn movements that can run into a pedestrian. You can have right turn movements. So this is where Vision Zero is incorporated as well. So the Boone and S Street intersection, really is with the turning movements, we're starting to create erratic driving behaviors. So the Boone and S Street intersection also experiences left turn and pedestrian turning movement conflicts due to a lack of vehicular gaps and the protected left turn phase. The city of Eureka has received multiple citizen complaints about erratic driving behavior and concerns regarding pedestrian safety at the intersection crossing due to the proximity of Zane Middle School. A 3-year incident report was compiled and indicated a total of 1 vehicular accident and 1 injury. The current phasing sequence is a concurrent phasing, which is defined by allowing compatible movements such as opposing through and parallel pedestrian crossings to run simultaneously. The proposed solution is to reduce conflicts and to increase safety is to implement split phase timing. The type of phasing is often used to resolve conflicts, such as the needs to accommodate a shared left turn or through lanes, or a history of specific type of crashes. This intersection cycle length shall not be affected due to the intersection control program is set to fully actuated. What I mean by a fully actuated intersection, where I can give a definition so we kind of can understand how this intersection is controlled. A fully actuated intersection is a traffic light that adjusts its timing based on real-time vehicle and pedestrian demand, as in vehicle detection or detectors that are in the ground. So doesn't have a set fixed time. So typically one of the drawbacks of having split phasing is that when you're on a set time intersection, it can really put a strain on coordination and timing. This intersection lacks that. So truly, it will not really be affected.
Lacks that from the standpoint of it's not connected with other signals, correct? It's
Exactly.
separate.
My apologies for not defining that. It is a freestanding intersection. It is not coordinated. There are no intersections within a half mile or a quarter mile and it's not of coordinated type.
And what type of, can you give us examples in the city of coordinated type?
I'm going to get to that.
Excellent.
And then one of the intersections that we're going to talk about, which are coordinated, all of H is coordinated, all of I is coordinated, 6th Street is coordinated, 7th Street is coordinated, and also Harris. Those are all coordinated intersections. So the suggestion with the split phasing would be this approach, where we would have just one identified phase being served at one time, eliminating left turn conflicts and also having a safe pedestrian crossing. Same would be for the opposite phase. So you're literally just eliminating the congruent phases. Any questions on the Boone and S Street intersection?
It's not really a question, but this is the intersection I was thinking of when you started to describe what you were talking about today. I'm like, oh, like Boone and S, like here we are. So thank you. That's all.
Can you talk about the trade-off? I guess you're noting a crosswalk on one side, but not on both sides, or the crossing, pedestrian crossing.
Oh, as in for phases 4 and 8? Phases 4 and 8 already have a separate pedestrian crossing because of the dedicated left turns. So that's why we're not factoring those. They're already a protected crossing. What you're looking at right now are permissive crossings. And then another point that we like to factor in is the level of service for this intersection. While we're going to be introducing the split phase on this, the existing level of service has a 21-second delay. Once we incorporate this, it'll have a 32.4-second delay. So there'll really be an 11-second difference in the split phase LOS difference. So very minimal.
But that's what you'll be, that's the trade-off, right? So you get this, rather than having both phases go at the same time, and that potential conflict, you separate them, but you have an additional delay added. So the idea being, in this case, that the reduction in that conflict is more beneficial than that 10, 11 seconds of delay.
Carolyn, you had a question?
It was actually just answered by Jay. It was about the level of service and how, what the wait time would be at that intersection. So thank you. Not much.
It also adds an additional wait time for the pedestrian because you're getting served one side at a time. So there's, like mentioned in the brief summary in the beginning, the trade-off is cycle length for safety.
So it's like a little more time, but more safety, more comfort, I guess, or less stressful, as I think we were talking about like that with cyclists. So yeah, makes sense.
All right. Okay, and our next intersection is going to be the intersection at Harris and S. The Harris and S Street intersection. Hold on, let me pull that up. The Harris and S Street intersection experiences turning movement conflicts and queuing delays primarily due to the street dimensions and limited road width on S Street. A 3-year incident report was compiled and indicated a total of 3 vehicular accident and 3 total injuries. S Street currently has conditions consisting of 2 9.5-foot travel lanes with 2 7.5-foot parking lanes totaling 35 feet. Really eliminating the opportunity for us to redesign and reconfigure the intersection and implement left turns. We don't have right-of-way, so there's a right-of-way constraint. So one of the best ways to implement the safety standards that we'd like to do is split phasing at this intersection. And due to the limited road width and shared lane turning movements, the left turn movement can create conflict points and potential queuing delays when minimum traffic gaps occur. So when we hit our AM and PM peak hours, we have vehicular crossings with minimal gaps where a left turn movement is not possible. And then the cycle phases, and you have what is called a yellow trap. You have a car left in the middle of the intersection in the yellow field. So only one vehicle can move through while you have potential queuing. You can have 3 leading vehicles wanting to turn left at that moment, and it can potentially leave multiple queue delays for multiple cycles. The current phasing sequence is a concurrent phasing, which is defined by allowing compatible movements such as opposing, through, and parallel pedestrian crossings to run simultaneously. The proposed solution to reduce conflicts and increase safety is to implement split phase timing. Intersection cycle length shall not be affected due to this intersection controller program being set to fully actuated. The LOS was ran on this intersection, and the existing LOS is 25-second delay. The proposed LOS would be a 38-second delay, giving a difference for the split total phase LOS of 13 seconds. Additionally, for the Boone and S intersection, we have a grant scheduled to upgrade 6 intersections, and Boone and S is one of those intersections where it's going to become a full phase 8 intersection. So that turning movement with the split phase is just more of getting that intersection prepared for what is upcoming, because that split phase is going to be very identical cycle timing to just when you have a left turn movement as well. So it's just really getting that cycle length time in par with what's going to be upcoming when we implement that to a full phase 8 intersection. All right. Any questions on the Harrison S Street intersection? Once we're done with this, we're going to have this phase for phase 4 with a safe pedestrian movement coming across, similar to Boone and S. And then our next movement will be similar to that.
Is this one connected to other traffic lights, timing-wise?
The fully, this is what is it? Actuated, uncoordinated intersection, so runs
Okay.
on detection.
Thank you.
No questions?
I do have a question. So it sounds to me like the intent of these changes is to reduce the incidence of collisions or collisions with pedestrians, which is obviously really important. Do we think that the split phasing will also help to address some of the issues with the backups that are happening at these intersections?
Yes, yes. The queuing effect will be addressed when you have a dedicated protected phase. You're not going to have anybody waiting to have a vehicular gap to be able to make that turning movement, holding the queues back. So the level of service, it states that 13 seconds might be added to it, but I really feel that the intersection will be more efficient, especially in AM and PM peak hours. I don't know if you're going to notice much of a difference at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, but in AM and PM hours, when I ran my synchro, it is highly effective.
Just because of those additional 13 seconds?
The additional 13 seconds is a potential delay for the main line movement, not the 4 and 8 movement, not north and south. That's for your main line, because they have to wait a little bit longer for the split phasing to be served.
Yep.
That's
So yeah, it's a balance. Is the answer? It's not perfect. It is a trade-off. So you are going to see that additional queue length on the main line. So in this case, you're going to see it on Harris, where if you're sitting on Harris, you're waiting for the S Street movements to go. You're going to have to wait for this side to go and then that side to go, rather than having them go at the same time. And that's where that 12 seconds delay is. So yeah, there is a trade-off there. And that's something though, we feel like looking at all these, we evaluate, you know, what is that trade-off? Is it too much? You know, is it going to cause there to be some sort of other, you know, we'll call it congestion, even though around here we don't have a lot of legitimate congestion, you know, but people can sense that, and that may cause them to try to do erratic behaviors if they are feeling like they're backed up. Oh, I'm going to cut here, turn there. So we don't want that to be over the top when it comes to balancing out that delay versus this splitting of those turning movements.
Will you guys notify the neighbors on the side streets in case that leads to additional traffic on the side streets off of Harris?
We don't anticipate that happening, given that like a 10 to 15 second delay. We are going to do outreach on these for sure, definitely, and we're going to take them on one at a time. So it wouldn't like we'd go out and we'd go to the entire list that we're giving you guys here today. We're going to start with one, and we'll do our notifications, and we'll have a lot more visibility out there as far as city staff and with signage, and you know, just making sure that people understand there's change to the intersection. We did that like on C Street. We put out message boards and that sort of thing to really give people a heads up that there is a change. This is fairly minor. If you weren't paying attention, you probably wouldn't even feel it. We did it on Myrtle during the construction of the paving on Myrtle. Similar thing where we switched it, and we got mostly positive feedback from that's. I think we only got positive feedback as far as I remember, and people noticed from that standpoint. But I think most people, they might not even notice that it's happening.
Will the walk signal automatically go on for the sidewalk that is getting the go? Or does somebody need to push the button for the walk signal to happen?
At Boone and S and Harrison S, you'll have to press the button.
Okay, that might be a thing to make sure
It's
that people know
actuated.
too. Yeah.
And actually, we're going to be switching where it's going to be all actuated.
Okay, yeah.
There won't be anything coordinated for the pedestrian movements.
Okay.
When we change our, when we go and change our pedestrian timing for LPIs.
But that's
they
coming in a
become
different.
uncoordinated.
That's a different project, though. That's not this
Yeah.
one. That's
Yeah.
coming. That's coming.
Yes.
Okay,
But
so
as
one
for
and
the
another.
meantime,
Okay.
for these intersections, it'll remain the same for the pedestrian actuated push button. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if somebody shows up like right as it changes, it won't necessarily give them the walk sign, and they'd have to wait through the whole cycle.
The same as
a
before.
sometimes impatient pedestrian, I know. That could
Yeah,
be-
that
okay.
can be, and that happens for people who are hitting left turn pockets too.
Yeah.
And so you just come up on that interval.
Yep, and you get it wrong. Well, I have this particular intersection. I have had a couple of near misses in the crosswalk with people who are desperately trying to make a left-hand turn in those few seconds that they can make it. So I do really viscerally understand how that like rush is very dangerous.
Yep. That's why the split phase sequencing goes hand in hand with Vision Zero. They're two in the same. It comes to signal timing.
Any other questions, or Commissioner Beaudry?
Yeah, first I want to say thank you for bringing this to our attention. I think it's a great initiative, and I can see a lot of good come out of it. My comment may be too tangential for this discussion. A while back, maybe 2 years ago, we had talked about leading pedestrian indicators. And the message at the time was Caltrans was putting those in on our highway roads. However, we were going to wait until after that. Is this a good opportunity to start leading pedestrian indicator programs in these intersections, or does that need to roll out as a comprehensive measure?
We plan on rolling that out in its own phasing, and we're going to do it all at one time. It just
For
we
consistency, so people know
yes.
what to expect?
Yes, we're working on grant applications and multiple other applications at the same time. And now that we have finished, we're in the process of just determining the crosswalk lengths and the formula. So now we're in the process of being able to implement the LPIs at all locations.
Groovy. Well, great work on both fronts. Thank you, Mr. Whistleblower.
Okay, any other questions on this item? Okay. Seeing none?
Oh, he's got more.
Oh,
I have one more intersection that I'd like to discuss. The Harrison A Street intersection. This is a fully actuated coordinated intersection. It is also in line with Harrison E and Harrison F. So the Harrison H Street intersection has turning movement conflict issues. The Harrison H Street intersection has a large number of vehicular and pedestrian incidents. The main culprit of vehicular incidents is due to conflicting turning movements, primary conflicts while yielding to oncoming traffic. A 3-year incident report was compiled and indicated a total of 7 vehicular accidents and 12 injuries. Additionally, the engineering department has received multiple requests to investigate the functionality and safety of the Harrison A Street intersection. The current phasing sequence is a concurrent phasing sequence, which is compatible by all movements, such as opposing, through, and parallel pedestrian crossings to run simultaneously. As we discussed, this intersection is an actuated coordinated. So define the actuated coordinated. So it's just really one of the best ways to break that down. Let me just get that one piece out. Actuated coordinated signal intersection is a traffic light system that uses vehicular and pedestrian detectors, loops, cameras, and buttons to adjust green light times, actuation, and works with neighboring signals to create green waves, reducing overall delay and improving traffic flow along corridors by responding to real-time demand while maintaining system-wide progression. So this intersection is on a 90-second cycle length. So we are going to be, the level of service should not truly be affected at this intersection because we're going to create the timing so the split timing is for the north-south phase is the same as what it was when it was programmed, because the adequate times that is being served right now is actually a lot more of a demand. So we can shrink that time to still meet the 40 seconds of mainline time and then split the existing, it was 40 seconds because that gives you 80 seconds, but you also have red time in there because the intersection will have all red time. So when you come up to the intersection, you get a red, there will be an all red of 1.5 seconds all the way around this intersection. And then at the Harrison H intersection along Harris at 30-mile-per-hour zone, that is programmed for a 3.5 second yellow time. So when I say a 40-second vehicular green time, you're also incorporating the 3.5 seconds and the 1.5 second red time, which gives you 45-second total cycle length. Times that by 2 is 90 seconds. So we're going to break that down into 40, and then you'll also get 20 and 20. Depending on what phases you're going to be breaking it down at, AM and PM, you're going to have that adjusted accordingly. So let's go back to the report. All right, so the proposed solution to reduce conflicts and increase safety measures is to implement split phasing. So we can see on this right here where we have potential conflicts, multiple potential conflicts, and if you've rode this intersection, you probably understand. This is what one proposal is for phase 4. And then for phase 8, we want to propose this with a leading pedestrian interval to reduce pedestrian conflict. Okay, the existing level of service at this intersection is C and will remain at C. The fixed time is 90 seconds, and the expected crash reduction at this coordinated intersection under the Federal Highway Administration is 41 to 48%. And then also, as we highlighted, additionally, safety countermeasures to be implemented will be at leading pedestrian intervals on all pedestrian crossing phases, creating an established pedestrian present before the upcoming sequence green turning phase is serviced. Any questions?
So in this particular scenario, turning from Harris or from H onto Harris that way, would there be a no right on red? Because what would stop folks from making that right-hand turn when there's still the blue arrows? Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
That is something that we're going to have to do our research on.
Okay, other questions?
When's the implementation timeline on these?
Yeah, we talked about we have some additional little bit of additional planning to do on our side before we can implement it, but we're working to start rolling out the first one, next few months.
That's great. Thank you.
Other commissioners have questions? Commissioner Beaudry? Okay, seeing none, thank you for the report. We can move on to item 7.3, update on current and upcoming. Oh, would you like to make a public comment, Mr. Fisk?
There we go. Thanks, Colin Fisk with CRTP. I appreciate the city looking at signal timing and coordination as a safety measure. I think that's really important. I want to pick up on Commissioner Griffith's comment about right turns, because I think that is one of the issues that remains unaddressed in a lot of these timing reforms. And so what I would encourage is just a citywide no right on red. A lot of cities have started doing that now. The history of right on red is very odd, but in any case, it's never been a particularly safe movement, and it's a pretty straightforward thing to do, is to just prohibit people from turning right on red. Another thing that could be looked at in some of the intersections where there's a lot of conflict is a pedestrian scramble, where there's just an all-way red and pedestrians go in all directions, which eliminates all the right turning conflicts as well. So just wanted to encourage you all to look at those two potential changes as well. And I guess the other thing that I wanted to highlight is making sure that bicyclists are accommodated. There's especially with actuated signals, often the detectors don't detect bikes very consistently. They're supposed to now. There's new standards, but my experience is they often don't. So making sure that bicyclists are detected and have a safe way to cross the street. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, any questions from the commissioners before we move on? Okay, thank you for the report. Item 7.3, update on current and upcoming transportation projects.
Yeah, excuse me. That's me. So yeah, just give you a quick rundown on some of our transportation projects that we have in various stages of programming right now. Currently, we are in construction for our pavement rehabilitation 2025 project. So right now there's been work being done over on McCullens for kind of the prep work, concrete, drop curbs, that sort of thing, sidewalk being taken care of ahead of paving in that area. And then we'll see work move over to Henderson. I think it's Henderson F. What else am I missing, Jay?
We're going to be paving on McCullens from Broadway to Utah, F Street from Harris Street to the South City limits, which is like Oak. Henderson Street from Henderson will be I to S. Yes, I to S for Henderson. And then we have Boone, which is also a part of an overall safety improvement project for Boone Street. And that will run from Fairfield to the paving limits will be to G, but the overall safety improvements will go all the way almost the entire length of Boone.
Yeah, so that's a grant. That's a HSIP, so Highway Safety Improvement Project funded portion of that project on Boone that we're adding some city dollars in to take care of some of the other improvements there. We're also in design for next year's pavement rehabilitation project, which will go out to bid soon. So we're playing catch up a little bit with PR 2025. That should, again, bid pretty soon. We've just started design on the G Street Bike Boulevard. I think I mentioned last meeting that we're intending to do we're doing some community outreach and engagement, trying to gauge interest from the community on what that bike facility might look like, what type of infrastructure might be used to define that facility. So we'll definitely keep you guys in the loop on what that schedule looks like, and we'll be putting out information to the community on that as well as looking for their input. Cooper Gulch Trail. This is a project that was funded as part of the suite of Link housing projects here. So that one, we're starting design now, and the intent is to construct that this summer. So that'll be an internal loop trail, a wide kind of Class 1 multi-use trail on the interior of the park, with some improvements to the connectors to the neighborhood, so folks can get down there and really utilize the park year round. Which right now there's been some improvements done through a habitat restoration project down there that have really made it a lot easier to access without getting your boots muddy. So that's looking much better, but there's more to come. We have a couple bridges arriving here in January to replace the existing pedestrian bridges. So a little bit of a pedestrian upgrade down there in Cooper Gulch should be great. This summer, currently we're finishing up design on the Halverson Park Trail maintenance. So that is to really do some much needed maintenance down on Halverson Trail between the Adorney Center and to the connection where the phase 3 of the Waterfront Trail had taken off. So that's kind of a newer pavement. So this was kind of the old section of trail in Eureka along Halverson underneath Highway 255 over to where the trail took off from. There's a lot of tree root uplift that's gone on there. So we're going to kind of redo that whole trail section through there. There's a park project happening at Sacco Amphitheater. It's a Grace Martin Park. So it's a new park. It's going to start construction here probably in 3 months from now. So the trail project will kind of come in right at the end after that project's been established. So we'll have a new park, and we'll have the trail will be redone in front of the park there. The funding for the park is grant funded. The funding for the trail is, those are all city street dollars, so general funded.
Sorry, where's the new park going to be?
So it's down at Sacco Amphitheater next to Adorney. So in between
Like a park lit, like a small park?
The amphitheater, like the place with the stone seats.
Yeah,
Oh,
so in between the amphitheater and the bay, that whole area is going to be turned into a legitimate bring your kids and a lot of
like a
equipment to
playground.
come play. Yeah.
Okay.
Playground. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. Playground. A park really isn't too definitive. Sorry. Yeah. A playground. So there'll be all sorts of different play structures in there that are maritime themed, that'll fit in on the waterfront there, and then the trail coming behind that. And finally, another offshoot of the Link housing projects, we'll be doing some sidewalk replacement on Myrtle Avenue. That's all I can think of. Did I miss anything, Jay?
So does that mean that the amphitheater is going away?
No, I think they're planning on doing some changes to it with the superstructure that's up above it, but I don't believe they're removing the amphitheater in of itself.
That's exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah.
We have an additional trail with the L to M.
Yeah, L to M is that's also a link. It came from that link funding, so grant funded project where we're connecting M Street through the gulch there to M Street. 10 years ago, we negotiated an easement for that section where there wasn't road right of way that would make sense for it, to get outside of the wetlands there. So there'll be a connection there that'll be formalized. It'll be class 1, so it'll be paved. I should say it's not class 1, but it'll be paved, like similar to a class 1. It's far too steep, unfortunately, to go through the gulch there without putting a massive bridge or over the gulch. But that's coming too, and that'll be a nice connector. I know a lot of high school kids use that coming back and forth to the high school, and will probably be a good project for the community.
I do have a question about that little section of L Street right before the gulch, because I briefly lived there on that street, and it's like narrows to one lane because it's like below is like the Albee Stadium, right? And it's like as you go down L Street, it sort of narrows because the cliff is right there. I don't know. I guess my question is there plans to improve or repave that?
Repave L Street?
That little section.
We will be doing with the trail project. So let's see. Yeah, I think you're talking about closer to the high school.
Yeah, it's like, as you like, right. Well, maybe I'm thinking of a different L to M Gulch, but there's one at the end, like as you keep walking down L Street from the high school, right?
No, yeah, we're talking about the same place.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
kinda-
like as you take a if you turn onto L Street from the high school, it sort of narrows to that one lane because there's the cliff edge right there. And I was just wondering if there's plans to widen that, or then I don't know what the situation is there.
Yeah. That one we don't have. I don't think that's listed right now on our upcoming like our pavement CIP the next 5 years. Not that it won't. As we start to check off some of the more highly used streets, as we've talked about in some of the previous meetings, we'll start to get more into those residential neighborhoods, and we're starting to try to pick those up now as they come in. So that one's not currently on the list, but I'm sure it's going to rise to the occasion soon enough.
Right, the neighbors there are all stop for each other, so I don't think it's a traffic hazard, but it is something that's like, as I pass by, it's like, oh, the cliff edge is really right there.
Yeah.
Other questions? Commissioner Beaudry? Anything? Okay. Thank you for the report. There's no other questions. We can report on our subcommittee updates, our neighborhood street closures pilot program.
Right, the moving and holidays defeated us,
Yes.
but we will rise again this month.
We will. And then
And real
future.
quick, just to confirm, you guys are still working on the petition.
We are still working on it. And then future agenda items. I don't know who reports on these, so is this just us? Okay. We
Usually,
are,
or we say, "Hey, Jesse,
yes.
what are these
Hey,
about?"
Jesse, tell us
Yeah.
about these future agenda items.
Sorry about that. So I kind of touched on the link housing one a little bit, and I feel like as we really wanted to bring that back when we had some more developed design work to share with you. So that's what that's on here for, to provide, the L to M, be able to see that, or the Cooper Gulch, the G Street Bike Boulevard. We're just not quite there. We're not quite there yet. So those will come when those designs are, developed to the point where we have something to show you. Speed humps, that's on the list as well. And collision data, spring of 2026. We're pulling together our data now, and then we'll put together, a presentation on that collision data, and then any trends or anything like that, we can go through that and discuss that.
With that, could we also, because they're kind of linked together, along with the Vision Zero plan, just kind of get an update on how that is going with the HCOG collaboration and the Transportation Safety Action Plan update, just kind of where all those things are.
Yeah, timely question. I know that there was an update. We're meeting soon. I saw something. Did you see that email come through today, Jay?
Yes, I did.
So there was a pause through the holiday where there wasn't a lot going on. I'm going to have to rapidly kind of take a quick look here and see if I can find out what the update on that is.
And Caroline, yes, as the numbers and data come in from the previous year, October, November, and December, we'll start compiling those numbers to get, adequate report.
Yeah, so I think there's a little flurry came out from HCOG today on a couple of things there, and one of those things. So our next step is to we're getting together with HCOG and the other agencies that are doing their demonstration projects to go over those and get all the details and scheduled, coordinated. So that's coming up here next week.
And then I noticed that today in the news there was a projected large deficit for the state of California. I know you guys rely heavily on state grant funding to do some of these projects. And so if there is projected impact on some of the grants that you guys have applied for, it would be good to know about that at some point.
Yeah, no, definitely. If something comes up, I will definitely keep you guys in the loop. I don't think anything that we have right now should be affected by that, just generally where we're at. I would say that going forward, as we're looking for grants, that's where we'll probably see them tightening up grant programs that may have had larger budgets. They might get shrunk down, make it more competitive, more challenging to be successful when going after those funds.
Okay, anything else, colleagues, for the good of the order?
Yes, I didn't hear on the to look forward to list anything about, I believe, 8th Street becoming an east-west pedestrian thoroughfare. Is that still on our list, and what's up?
Yeah, 8th, excuse me, I should have brought water with me. 8th Street is, it's a bicycle boulevard identified in our bike plan. So those are some of the things that we were working towards with our Vision Zero plan, was looking at implementing some of those quick build projects, like a traffic circle or something along that came out of our bicycle plan on 8th Street. So yeah, that's part of the Vision Zero planning process, and we'll find out probably next week, and hopefully in our next meeting be able to report back a little bit more on like schedule on when we expect that to come out.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, colleagues? Okay. Well, thank you for the report. And it looks like we are going to meet next on Tuesday, February 10th, here at 3:30. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
You don't actually have to make a motion.
Okay. Then we are adjourned.